Hello and what's up everybody, it is Thunderbob here, and tonight we're going to be doing some more Diablo IV beta. I've been messing around with different Sorcerer builds, and I had some people mention that there's some cool interactions with Ice Blades and cooldowns. And I found a pretty interesting build. I don't think it's quite as powerful as my Hydra Orb build I featured in my previous videos, but it's a fun build. And I think towards endgame, when you have more skill points to play around with, this could be really effective. We're going to look at the skills and my gear. My gear is definitely not optimized for this, but I'm going to show you anyways. So this build uses no mana spells. Every single spell here has high cooldowns and no mana cost. So you have to put 2 points basically into something here you're not going to use. I just put them into Spark, an enhanced Spark. And then also I needed to get down to here. So I took the passive and did I put one in here? I shouldn't have. I should have put it over here. Not that this actually did anything, but basically put it in the passives, and that'll get you down to where your cooldowns start. I'm not using Ice Armor. I'm using Flame Shield, which gives you immunity, and basically your cooldowns are going to be brought down by Ice Blades. So you can constantly do this, constantly get immunity, do some damage with it. Frost Nova is also very critical because this gives vulnerability, and that helps generate your cooldown reduction. I also have Teleport just because Teleport's awesome, and being able to teleport more frequently is doubly awesome. Coming down here to the most critical skill of this build is Ice Blades, and specifically these two. So Ice Blade's cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time it hits a vulnerable enemy. So it's got a 12-second cooldown. You know, Ice Blades, every time it hits an enemy that's vulnerable, it's bringing down that cooldown. And then this one allows 50% of that cooldown reduction to apply to all of your skills. Now, one other thing that plays into this is you can socket this in your enhancement spot. And for every 20 seconds in cooldowns that you spend, you spawn an Ice Blade. So let's think about that. If I cast Inferno, I immediately get... I'm not sure if it's actually spawning two because I'm technically spending 45 seconds of cooldown. But I get at least one. And then when I cast Flame Shield, I get a second Ice Blade. And then when I cast Frost Nova and Lightning Spirit, you know, like, this snowballs really quickly. And then since this is causing vulnerability, and also Ice Blade has a chance to cause vulnerability, all of those Ice Blades are also reducing all of your cooldowns, and also reducing the Ice Blades cooldown. So think about that. You're getting free Ice Blades from just casting these spells. Then Ice Blades are reducing the cooldown, which allows you to cast more of these spells. It's just like a chain reaction that's really fun to watch. I honestly don't think it does quite as much damage as just a focused, like, Frozen Orb Hydra build I ran last week, or probably some of the builds based around these skills. But it's just kind of amazing to see in action. And then I went down, I put 1 point in Inferno. That's as far as we went. We also are running with Glass Cannon just to increase your damage by that much more. I put one into Align the Elements, and then this is also very important for the build. Using cooldown grants 30% of your maximum life as a barrier. So we are using a ton of cooldowns, obviously. Think about it. You're getting a ton of barrier. Just all around good. This is basically the same setup I had on my Hydra Orb builds. This is definitely not optimized. I did get one new item since then, but I've actually got this on 2 items, so the extra ability here isn't even being used, but it does give me that extra Ice Blades. After mobilizing wears off, enemies are slowed by 28%. Not critical for this build. Yeah, just critical strike, all stats. And then this is giving me that same barrier. Just kind of a cool effect. And this is really nice for Hydra builds, obviously. I just got this. You got 36% increased critical strike chance against injured enemies while you are healthy. You gain 71% increased crowd control. I'm kind of curious how that interplays with this build. I think it might be useful. Mana regeneration and primary resource regeneration. Both of these aren't critical here because you're not really using any mana. But let's go ahead and we're going to jump in and kill some shit and see how this build does. And if you're interested, I have a video showing, actually a couple videos showing my Necromancer as well, which I got almost to the cap. And I would say is arguably the best character in the beta. Like, I think the source is pretty similar in capabilities. But that Necromancer, it's just crazy, some of those abilities. You gotta watch that video. I'm trying to get as many enemies as I can. And where this build really shines is on bosses. And something to watch is the cooldown on my ultimate. Like, as this really starts firing, you can see it, like, goes from 45 seconds down to, like, nothing pretty quickly. I see that barrier is constantly up. Like, you have very crazy amounts of protection with this build. And the reason I probably won't run this in live is just because I'm just constantly spamming, like, all of my buttons. Like, I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4, left click, right click, like... it's a lot more active, but I'm also not, like, really thinking about it. Like, this build is good... Hey, legendaries. Mostly just because of the cooldown reduction, just, like, your spamming abilities. Like... Look how many of those ice blades I can get up at one time. There's not a lot of finesse to it. Like, you're not really thinking about it. I'm just hitting every button I can as soon as that cooldown comes up because it generates more of those ice blades. And when I actually get into a boss, you can see this, like, in action where it's just like the cooldowns just immediately come up, basically. Like, watch those numbers. Watch the ultimate. I can't click any faster than I'm currently clicking. I really want to play around with this where you can get teleport down to, like, no cooldown. I'm getting a ton of conjuration kills now. Which is weird because I was running Hydra, and Hydra was doing a ton of damage. I actually tried this briefly with Hydra, and I think using all cooldowns is actually a little bit more effective. Thought I heard a legendary. I don't even know why I'm picking up items, because, like, this is probably one of the last sessions I'm going to have in the beta, and everything's going to get wiped, so, like, what's even the point? You know? I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm definitely excited for the full game to come out. I think if Ice Blades did a little bit more damage, this would be more effective. Like, I put extra points in the Ice Blades, and maybe that was a mistake. Because it's not, even with all these Ice Blades coming out, Hydra still does way more damage than it. There's, like, no competition there. I gotta say, the Necromancer does way more damage in this without even trying. Like, that Blood Surge ability is amazing. Corpse Explosion is amazing. I had 12 skeletons going at the same time. It's just incredible. Way overpowered. But I think the Source is still going to be my main, just because I always, in Diablo games, start with a Mage, Sorceress, Wizard, you know, style class. Like in the original Diablo, most recently I played through it as the Mage. I really enjoyed it. And then Diablo 2, the Sorceress has always been like my starter. It's always my favorite to, you know, there's so many great combinations. And then in Diablo 3, the Wizard was my first character. I'm just clicking all of the buttons as quick as I can here. Oh, I'm at that part where I gotta kill all of them, aren't I? I really hammed the aiming on that, didn't I? I'm up to a barrier of 420 right now. Resplendent chest. There's gonna be a trap though. No. And a legendary. I'm gonna have to check out those at the end of the video if you want to stick around. Another legendary. Holy shit. Did I get double legendary rings? The double rainbow. Already full. I've got 3 legendaries this run? Is that right? Oh yeah, I gotta kill all these guys, don't I? I don't want to have to, like, turn around. And if you run in this build, or you played around with it, if there's any, like, skill I missed out on, or any, like, way to optimize this more, drop me a comment below. I'd be definitely curious. I haven't put, like, dozens of hours in this. I probably played around with it for about an hour, and there is probably ways to optimize this further. But I've definitely enjoyed this setup, though. I think I'll probably run Hydra Orb. And I wonder if they might nerf this. I don't know if this interaction is completely intended, but maybe it is. Like, Blizzard, you know, they've been smart in a lot of ways, I would say. Get all this blue shit I don't need. I don't even know why I'm picking up items, like I said. Like, oh, I do have to kill all of these assholes. This is probably my least favorite type of dungeon, to kill everything, because, like, you miss one thing somewhere. I love the way the armor racks lift up in this dungeon. It's very cool. Yeah, so I can't open that door because I missed 18 enemies, which are probably down this hallway, I'm hoping.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm not ready yet. Druid, I definitely was not digging. I got it to about, I think, level 12. I don't even know if I'm posting videos of it. It was just kind of depressing. I know there are, you know, some builds that seem decent, but it definitely seems like the weakest of the classes that I have played thus far. I am immune, you can't hurt me. I feel like I'm getting carpal tunnel playing this build. Like, my hand hurts right now. 6 more. Please don't tell me I missed something. I didn't realize I was in that type of dungeon initially. Is there anything over here? And of course it's the ghosts who are, like, being assholes and teleporting around. Look, stop doing whatever it is. I have no attacks up right now. That's the one bad thing about this ability is, especially for, like, this type of dungeon where you gotta kill the last... Oh, there's an event in here. Sure, we'll do this real quick. And then we'll go kill the boss. I love that you can run into these events in the dungeon. That's real cool.
We can't do it alone.
I haven't done this one yet. These are random too, right? You don't get these every time. I think this build would be really good for the world bosses because you can basically become essentially like immune to all damage. And I know those bosses like are doing a ton of damage to you. And like this build works best either with like one guy who just is stationary and you can just pummel on and like your vulnerability is always on him, or there's like enough enemies that your attacks are always going off. But when there's just like a couple, that is like the part where it is weakest for sure. Like when there's like 2 or 3 stragglers you're dealing with. Like right now, like this is not optimal at all for this build. Wow, another legendary. What is that? 4 or 5? I know they said that the legendary drop rates are increased in the beta. So like, I just wonder how much they're increased. Did she just give me white pants and a white dagger for my troubles?
I've lost so many.
That was shite.
Can't have been for nothing.
You gonna be resplendent at least?
Please, let me join you. Let me avenge the fallen.
I'm not even going to pick up the rares. Alright, now let's go kill the boss, and that'll be the end of this video. I really haven't used this lightning spear much either. I wonder if I should have grabbed stuns, crackling energy. There's definitely a lot of ways you could customize this build, but you know, going with the cooldown abilities, or perhaps dropping one of them for, you know, like some kind of mana ability that you can sink all your mana into. Because honestly, I haven't used any mana in this entire run. You don't need it for this build. And then with more points, you could make all of these higher damaging. I don't think I've used a potion. Maybe at the beginning I clicked it because I was getting things going. Now let's just see if I can watch these cooldowns fly. I'm clicking as hard and as fast as I can. I wish there was a number somewhere on the screen for how many of the ice blades you have out, because I'm sure it's a lot right now. Like, look at that. Look at those cooldowns fly. Bam. Dungeon complete. Yeah, let's look at those legendaries and then we'll call it a night here. Let's see. I think... Yeah, I already had that one. So we got... Chain Lightning has a 33% chance to chain to 2 additional. That's cool. You deal 32% more damage to immobilized, stunned, or frozen enemies. That's very cool for my Hydra Orb build. While channeling Incinerate, screw Incinerate. Did I get some pants? Or was it this helm? When you hit crowd control on enemies, there's up to a 44% chance that the crowd controlled effect to spread to another. I think I've already got an item with that, but yeah. Well, I'm gonna end it here. Yeah, that's a pretty cool build. I still don't think it's like necessarily top tier, except exclusively for boss killing. Like you could see in that last fight there, just how many of those ice blades I had up, how quickly the cooldowns were cycling. Fun build. I think you could probably, with more skill points, make it much better. Maybe end game, this would be something interesting. Let me know with your thoughts if there's anything I could augment here, anything I should try. I do want to thank you again for watching. If you like this, please feel free to check out some of the other Diablo content. I've got a ton of it on the channel for Diablo 1, 2, 3, and now 4. I also do a lot of VR, retro gaming, PC gaming in general. If you like what I'm doing, please do like, subscribe, and drop me a comment. Again, have a good night, everyone.